everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. I am Mrs. Kritika, Associate Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Nanda College of Pharmacy, Erode. Today, we are presenting an international webinar on the topic of modern and effective methods in the development of natural products. Present by our resource person, Dr. Mahendran Shekhar, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, University Kuala Lumpur, Royal College of Medicine, Perak, Malaysia. I assure that there is no need of introduction for our resource person who have an intellectual personality. In his speech, the role and contributions of natural products chemistry in advancement of physical and biological sciences, its interdisciplinary domains and emerging of new avenues by providing novel applications, constructive inputs, trust, comprehensive understanding, broad perspective, and a new vision for future is outlined. For curing wide variety of diseases, a wide range of natural products have been using since ancient civilization. All these facts show that these medicinal plants have immense potential source for modern drugs. We feel proud and happy, sir, by connecting with this virtual platform. We would like to express our gratitude to Thiru V. Shanmugan, Sri Nanda Education Trust, Thiru S. Nandakumar Prati, Secretary, and Thiru S. Thirumurthy, Secretary, Nanda Educational Institutions. Without their motivation and support, organizing this webinar is impossible. We are cordially inviting the delegates from various institutions. Also request them to stay connected and put your questions in chat box. It will be discussed during the questionnaire session. At the end of the session, the feedback form of this webinar will be active. Kindly submit to receive your e-certificate. Kindly cooperate with us, participants. Let us now welcome the man who doesn't need any introduction and known among all of us for his wisdom and his knowledge. Yes, it's our beloved and honorable principal, sir, Dr. T. Shivakumar, Nanda College of Pharmacy. I would like to request our principal, sir, to deliver a few words by welcome address. Please, sir.
A pleasant morning to all. I feel proud to invite Dr. Mahendra Segar, Professor and Head, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Faculty of Pharmacy and Health Science, University of Kuala Lumpur, Royal College of Medicine for Malaysia for this international webinar. Welcome, sir, to joining with us.
Thank you, sir.
And he has a lot of gold medals, so many bronze medal, almost 4-5 pages medals only I have seen your biodata, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Please welcome once again. I'm happy to have more than 1,200 participants from various pharmacy colleges and universities in and around India, in which one of the international delegates, Dr. V. Ravichandran, professor from Amits University, Malaysia, and Sarafi Siamimi, faculty of University Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I feel proud to invite some of the delegates from northeastern part of the India, Dr. Midun Bhaumik and Soumya Sinai, West Bengal, and also one of the participants, Dr. Pranav Kumar from Varanasi. In addition, Paris from RVS College, Mr. Kishore Kamal and Surendra Lalwani, Azad College of Pharmacy, and Umesh Kumar from Madura, and Aishwarya Jain and Sarojini Venkateswara College of Pharmacy, and Nalini Professor from Elixir College of Pharmacy, and so many of them supporting from the various level throughout India and abroad also. The today's session is quite interesting with the topic of modern effective methods and development of natural products. I assure to our participants that from this webinar, you will get some innovative ideas for your drug discovery and research also get some of the knowledge in the modern natural drug perennial. I feel gratitude to our management, especially our chairman and secretary, for supporting and creating this platform for conducting virtual webinar in this COVID-19 for threatening condition. I extend my gratitude to our administrative officer, Dr. Krishnamurthy, and the College of Pharmacy, Erode. In addition to that, I am extremely thankful to Kritika, Associate Professor, Nanda College of Pharmacy, and Kalpana, Gladys Kalpana, and Amalata, and Dr. Jagdish Varan, Nanda College of Pharmacy, and most energetic young man, Dr. Apola, Administrative Officer of Ayush College and Siddha Ayurveda College, and my colleague who organized wonderfully for this virtual seminar. Thank you, all of them. And thank you once again to all audience. I leave the dais to the forum. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable address, sir. Just we can connect with our next panelist of our college, Mr. Apollo James, Department of Pharmacy Practice, Nanda College of Pharmacy, to introduce our resource person to our delegates. Please, sir.
On behalf of Nanda College of Pharmacy, I am very happy to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Mahendran Sekhar, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Pharmaceutical Chemistry, Faculty of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, University Kuala Lumpur, Royal College of Medicine, Perak, Ipoh, Malaysia. Dr. Mahendran Sekhar received his bachelor's degree in pharmacy in 2004, followed by a master's degree in pharmaceutical chemistry in 2007, and he was granted a junior research fellowship from University Grants Commission of India to pursue his PhD degree in pharmaceutical sciences in the year 2008 to 2011 at JSS College of Pharmacy, Tamil Nadu. He is currently working as Associate Professor and Head of Pharmaceutical Chemistry Department at University Kuala Lumpur Royal College of Medicine, Perak, under the Faculty of Pharmacy and Health Sciences since 2012. He has received several prestigious awards at the national and international levels for his excellent contributions in academic and research activities. He received the Outstanding Researcher in Pharmaceutical Chemistry Award during the first annual Healthcare Meet 2018, organized by Venus International Foundation, Chennai. And he also received various prestigious awards of Malaysia. Dr. Mahendran Sekhar has also received the International Achievement Award 2018 from Education Expo TV Company's Rating System, India. His innovative products won the gold medal in 3 consecutive years at the International Invention, Innovation and Technology Exhibition, and special awards in national and international level innovation competitions and exhibitions. Two of his innovative products are patented in Malaysia. His innovative products secured Best Innovative Product Award in Defense, Security and Sustainability Exhibition 2017, organized by UPNM Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Most Promising Invention Award in Pernitus 2018, that is Invention and Innovation Competition of Private Higher Education Institution, organized by Management and Science University, Sham Alam, Malaysia. His research is mainly in the field of drug discovery and development of natural products. He is also interested in the development of innovative natural products using green technology. He has supervised more than 25 undergraduate final year projects. He has more than 50 publications, including ISI Scopus Index journals, proceedings, guidelines, and book chapters. He is also a reviewer with a number of scientific journals of international standing. Once again, I'm very happy to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Mahendran Sekhar, sir. Now, screen is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Can you see my slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it audible, my voice?
Yes, sir. Yes, clear.
Excellent.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, madam. Okay. Good morning to everyone. And thank you very much to Dr. Kritika, madam, and Mr. James for the kind introduction. And I also would like to thank Dr. Shivkumar sir and Nanda College of Pharmacy, Erode, for inviting this international webinar presentation. So the topic I was selected for my today's presentation is modern and effective methods in the development of natural products. So why I was chosen this topic is because in pharmacy discipline, we have various discipline or specialization like pharmaceutical chemistry, we have pharmacology, we have phytochemistry, pharmacognosy, pharmaceutical biotechnology. There are various disciplines, but most of the lab-based research are conducted based on natural products. Because natural products, we know that it is safe and effective, and also, sorry, it is safe and effective and less toxic as well. So that is the reason most of the researchers they want to select a natural product for their research activities. So, but there are many products, especially based on natural products, not many products in the market because of so many challenges and also the disadvantages in the extraction and isolation process. So that is the reason in my presentation today, I'm going to highlight what are the recent advanced methods, in especially in the separation and also the extraction of natural products. So this presentation definitely I think will be helpful for the young researchers those are doing natural products. So coming to the introduction, so natural products, most of the researchers they might be thinking natural products means it is mainly obtained from the medicinal plant. It is not only obtained from the medicinal plants, it also obtained from bacteria, fungi, insects, and also marine organisms, and also in higher order of animals. So these are considered as natural products. And discovering of natural products into a drug candidate is extremely very difficult. So because we know the process, starting from the selection of the plant material, and then we go for isolation, then we need to do preclinical and clinical trials. So it is a time consuming process and also very expensive as well. So due to this reason, many scientists and researchers, and especially even the postgraduate students also, they were interested to go for synthetic molecules. But as we know that since ancient time, medicinal plants and its phytoconstituents play a major role to fight many diseases. And even now, even the COVID-19 also, there are many Ayurvedic plant materials and also the medicinal plants are playing a major role to cure those kind of diseases. So some of the examples we know from the ancient times, we know penicillin, which is mainly isolated from Penicillium fungus. It is an antibiotic, and also some quinine molecules mainly obtained from cinchona tree. So these are all the some of the examples, and we have so many anti-cancer drugs and anti-diabetic drugs which are currently available in the market are mainly obtained from the plant material, and recently they come up with the new derivatives, and they gone for the new semi-synthetic derivatives of those natural products. So our researchers normally they put a lot of effort towards the discovery of new natural molecules to fight against diseases. And many of our institutions and universities they support a lot to come up to discover a new molecule and also to test the novel compounds for use as candidate therapeutics. So there are a lot of support from the government agencies. Also, they provide a lot of fund for the natural product research because every one of us knows natural products play a major role to cure many diseases. So how we can expand our effort? So we put a lot of effort on natural product research. So how we can extend our effort? So we need to do test of large number of natural compounds for therapeutic effect. Currently, most of the researchers they mainly focus on extract. So they just normally they do extraction. After the extraction, they go for some kind of biological activities, and later they publish the paper, and that's all. So the next one more new researchers will come, just go through the previous research and they select another plant and they do the similar kind of studies. So instead of that one, we need to do some kind of studies based on the isolated compounds. Then only the isolated compounds only we can easily bring into the market when compared to the extract. So we need to discover new ways to measure the effect of promising molecules. So we know a lot of isolated compounds also available in the database nowadays, but we need to discover new methods to do the preclinical and clinical studies. So then only we can bring those natural products into the market. So, and also we need to improve the design and efficiency. So we have a lot of methods, established methods, and we know what are the disadvantages in those methods, and we need to find the new method, new technology to overcome all the disadvantages present in the previous method. So in my presentation, I'll be highlighting the important methods currently the natural product researchers which are following, and they got very good results. So that only I'm going to explain in my presentation. So before that, I want to discuss something about the drug discovery and developments of natural products. So in the drug discovery and developments, every day 100,000 of molecules are tested for the biological screening. So cost of this screening is very expensive and also a time-consuming process. So we know the time-consuming process, time-consuming of clinical and preclinical studies. Especially for the drug discovery, we need to wait for 10 to 15 years of time to bring one new molecule as a drug molecule into the market. So what we need to do, we need to optimize all the steps which are involved in the development process of natural products. So in the natural product discovery mainly starts from lead identification. So how lead identification starts? It starts from the target-based biological studies and cell-based bioassays, then followed by we do some pharmacological studies. Then after that, we go for lead optimization. So with the help of medicinal chemist, and we do the combinatorial chemistry, then followed by lead development, including pharmacological studies and PK/PD studies, like including pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamic studies. Then finally, the lead compound has been identified, then it reaches into the clinical trial. So this is the process actually. So this is a very lengthy process and it takes a lot of time. It takes minimum 10 years and even up to 15 years of time to bring any natural product into the market. So medicinal plant drug discovery continue to provide a new and important leads against various diseases. And even in our laboratory, we have done a lot of isolation. We have isolated compounds. We have developed the new generation dosage forms, but still we are struggling to bring those compounds into the market as a drug molecule. The problem is we need to adapt with the new technologies, new methods. If you are following the old methods, what are the method has been established 10 years back or 20 years back, so definitely we are far behind to the research, because we start with extraction, then followed by isolation, then preclinical and clinical trials with the methods already available, means very old methods. Then other researchers in other part of the world, they're using the new technology, new methods, so they can come up faster with the new molecule when compared to us. So that is the reason we need to adopt with the new technologies and methodologies which is available, especially for the extraction and isolation, also the preclinical studies. So even though the drug discovery from medicinal plants continues to provide an important source of new drug leads, there are numerous challenges are encountered. And why the natural products fail to reach the market? There are many reasons, and the main reason is safety and efficacy. So any product, if you want to sell it in the market, the safety and efficacy is very, very important. And we are not, what are the products? Some products which are available in the market may not be having this kind of safety and efficacy profile. So normally they will make an extract and they do some formulation and just they sell it in the market. So what the customer think, whether this product is really effective or it is really safe to the human being, so many questions they will be raised. So that is the reason the success of natural products in the market is very, very low when compared to the synthetic material. So it also striking about 40% of development compounds fail to reach the market due to poor pharmaceutical properties, which including poor solubility, permeability, and metabolic stability. So the solubility is play a major role, and we know hydrophilic compounds and lipophilic compounds. So hydrophilic compounds are very, very important because any compounds are any natural products, if it is in hydrophilic nature, then only it can be dissolved in the bloodstream if wants some pharmacological actions. Similarly, it can enter into the many fat. Both lipophilicity and hydrophilicity is very, very important in the natural products. So due to lack of those solubility, sometimes those natural products are very difficult to make it into a new formulations. So these are all the some of the disadvantages that we are facing to bring natural products into the market. So in my presentation, I will start with selection of the plant material until the final products. So what are all the new methods are available, how we can overcome those disadvantages which are present in the currently available methods. So it starts from selection of plant material. So any kind of natural product, it starts with the selection of plant material. So selection of plant material means which normally we start with the literature review. So literature review means what we do review of the research which has been done by the earlier researchers. And we also check the traditional and ethnomedicinal uses. So this normally we obtained from the traditional users. So based on their information, we select some medicinal plants. So these are the two ways mainly we are using to select the plant material. So when we do the literature review and when we check the traditional and ethnomedicinal uses, we need to be very careful whether we are really searching the reliable ethnomedical data which is already available in the traditional system. So because nowadays so many books are available which are stating that this medicinal plant are used for this kind of biological properties, and this information may be obtained from the traditional users, something like that. So how we can rely on those information? So that is why we need to do cross-checking. Cross-checking means we need to cross-check with few other traditional database, and also what we need to do, we need to also check with the traditional users about the biological properties of those natural products, especially the medicinal plants. So based on that only we should do the selection, not simply selecting based on only one source of data. And after that, the collection of specimens from the correct genera and species used in the traditional system. Maybe, for example, in the ethnomedicinal data, or maybe the traditional users, they might be mentioned one species, but the researchers, they may choose when they do the collection of plant material, they may select wrong species. So that will be later on when they do the biological studies. So they get different results when whatever the traditional users mentioned in the ethnomedical data. So because of the wrong species selection. So we should be very careful, and we should do cross verification with some kind of something like TC, transfer section microscopical and macroscopical identification also very important when we do the selection of plant material. So after the selection of plant material, what we need to do? We need to do authentication. So authentication also we must be done by the certified botanist. There are many botanists just simply sometimes they may say this plant is this kind of species, but you need to confirm with the certified botanist, and you need to get a certificate or specimen herbarium, voucher specimen herbarium. So that will be very useful when you do the publications, or later on when you claim something like about that plant, then the herbarium specimen is very, very, very important. And the correct identification of medicinal plants by voucher specimen herbarium is very important. And chemotaxonomy and molecular biology are helpful for plant identification. So normally what the botanists they do, they once you go with the plant material, they normally check with the available database in the herbarium. So normally they cross check and they will give a certificate mentioning that this is the species that you have been collected. So based on that, you can go for the next step, that is basic operational steps, which including washing of plant material and drying process. So normally drying of plant material, we use freeze drying, and sometimes even some researchers they use hot air oven with controlled temperature, because the temperature is very, very important. Either you should go for shade drying or freeze drying, or you can use a hot air oven but with controlled temperature. Then those are the ideal techniques for drying of plant material. So after the drying of plant material, we should go for grinding of plant material. So grinding also very, very important. This is most of the researchers, they may think this is very simple process. Nothing is going to happen into the phytoconstituents which are present in the plant material, because grinding is very important for the extraction process. So when you make grinding of plant material, the homogeneous sample and the particle size of the sample also very important, because normally it depends on the extraction process, the particle size of the plant material is varied. For example, when you select the Soxhlet extraction method or maceration methods, so we need to use the coarse powder material. So then only the extraction process will be proper, and the solvents can enter into the pores of the plant material. So that is very important. And proper action must be taken to assure the potential active constituents are not lost. So when you do the grinding process, and also when you do the selection of extraction methods, so you should not use any potential active constituents. So that is very important, because if you lose the active constituents from the plant material, then later when you do the biological activities, you don't get the proper results, and especially the positive results which already mentioned based on the traditional users. So distorted and or destroyed during the preparation of the extract from the plant sample. So we need to be very careful when we do the cleaning of plant material and grinding of plant material. Each and every steps are very, very important to get all the phytoconstituents which are present in the plant material. We should not lose any kind of biological active compounds when we do this simple step as well. So after the collection and separate the drying process, then grinding process, we should go for extraction. So extraction, the solvent selection is very, very important. So as we know, the secondary metabolites are biologically active, which including phenolic compounds, flavonoids, saponins, terpenoids. So these are the active constituents which are mainly present in the plant material. So we need to choose the solvent appropriately. So especially most of the biologically active constituents are polar in nature. So when we do selection of solvents, so we need to select the polar solvents to extract the polar constituents which are present in the plant material. So which including water. Water is the best solvent, and ethanol and methanol is the widely used solvent to isolate or to extract the phytoconstituents which are present in the plant materials. And if your aim is to isolate even some non-polar compounds also biologically active, and if your aim is to isolate those non-polar compounds, then you need to choose the non-polar solvents, something like petroleum ether and hexane, N-hexane, and even you can use some medium polar like chloroform and dichloromethane as a solvent to extract and isolate the phytoconstituents. So different solvent systems are available to extract the bioactive compounds from natural products. So the extraction of hydrophilic compounds uses polar solvents. So you can use either methanol, ethanol, or ethyl acetate to isolate or extract the polar constituents. And if you want to isolate the lipophilic compounds, non-polar compounds, so even you can use dichloromethane or the mixture of dichloromethane and methanol. So this is one of the best solvent to isolate or to extract phytoconstituents like lipophilic and hydrophilic compounds. So this is very important step in the development of natural products. So that is an extraction process. So after the solvent selection, so we should go for extraction process. So extraction, we know there are many olden methods like Soxhlet extraction method, maceration methods are available, and most of the researchers, they choose only those two methods only, Soxhlet extraction and maceration extraction method. Nowadays there are so many new methods are available, and those are methods are very effective and safe as well. So that only I'm going to discuss in this presentation. So there are methods which including microwave assisted extraction. I think this is still most of the researchers still even many of them, they are using microwave assisted extraction for the extraction process. And there are new methods like supercritical fluid extraction, accelerated solvent extraction, the high pressure extraction methods. So these are all the new methods. So this only I'm going to highlight in the after this. So the first very important methods, the new methods, which is pressurized liquid extraction method. So it is also described as accelerated solvent extraction, enhanced solvent extraction, pressurized fluid extraction, accelerated fluid extraction, and high pressure solvent extraction by different research groups. So these methods are called by many researchers in different name. But here, the pressurized liquid extraction applies high pressure in the extraction process. So here, the high pressure keeps solvents in a liquid state above their boiling point, resulting in a high solubility and high diffusion rate. So the advantages of this method is high solubility and high diffusion rate when compared to other methods, existing methods like Soxhlet extraction method and maceration method. See here, high pressure will be introduced, and that because of the high pressure, the boiling point of the solvents will be higher when compared to the original boiling point. So, and high penetration of the solvent in the matrix. So these methods are widely used nowadays and very effective, and high penetration between the solvent and also the plant material. So PLE dramatically decrease the consumption of extraction time. So normally when you use a Soxhlet extraction method, we need to spend minimum of 20 to 24 hours. Even sometimes if the Soxhlet extraction is not continuous, so we need to do extraction for a few days, for 2 days or 3 days. And maceration method, we need to spend at least 7 days to get the extract. But this PLE method can reduce the time process and also reduce the solvent also. See here, this technique not required much quantity of solvent when compared to other methods like Soxhlet and maceration method. And this method had better repeatability compared to other methods. So whatever the extract yield that you get it from this method is repeatability is very high. Means when you do the repetition of this same constituents which are present in the method or maceration methods, the yield will be different one time to another time. So that is the reason this method having more advantages when compared to the existing methods. And another method is supercritical fluid extraction. So here there is no solvents like polar and non-polar solvents are used for the extraction process. So here normally we use supercritical carbon dioxide that has been used as a mobile phase or maybe the solvent to extract phytoconstituents which are present in the plant material. So this is an attractive, this is having some advantages like which is low critical temperature, selectivity, inertness, low cost and non-toxicity, because we are not using any non-toxic solvents, toxic solvents, something like NHN, petroleum ether or ethanol, something like that. So here this is non-toxicity and capability to extract thermally labile compounds. Means some compounds are thermally not stable, especially when you do the Soxhlet extraction method or maybe when you use the microwave assisted extraction also. There are some disadvantages. There are some compounds maybe very low melting point and thermally not stable compounds. So those compounds very difficult to isolate when you go for the existing methods. So when you use supercritical carbon dioxide, this supercritical fluid extraction method, so you can overcome that disadvantages and you can isolate or extract those thermally labile compounds. So the low polarity of carbon dioxide makes it ideal for the extraction of non-polar natural compounds such as lipids and volatile oils. So this method are mainly used for the extraction of lipid compounds like lipid soluble compounds like non-polar compounds, and also we can also isolate the volatile oils. So these methods are mainly used. So every methods are having some advantages and disadvantages. But when you use the Soxhlet extraction method, you are extracting all the phytoconstituents. You are not targeting certain compounds. So, but this kind of supercritical fluid extraction method, you are targeting the compounds. Your target is mainly to isolate volatile oils or lipid compounds. Then better to choose this method to extract those compounds. And next method is microwave assisted extraction method. So these methods are, I think, many of researchers are using already. This is one of the existing method, but still there are new type of microwave are available to do the extraction process. So the transfer of heat and mass are in the same direction in microwave assisted extraction, which generate a synergetic effect to accelerate extraction and improve the extraction yield. So here the extraction process will be faster and we can get better yield. That is the main advantages of the microwave assisted extraction technique. So this technique will be increasing the extract yield and decreasing the thermal degradation and selective heating of vegetal material. And this microwave assisted extraction is also regraded as a green technology. So this has been considered one of the green technology because we are not using the toxic solvents when we do the extraction by using microwave, because it reduces the usage of organic solvents. But nowadays there are some sophisticated microwave are available, especially even you can use some kind of organic solvent as well. So those are interested to go for fast extraction and also to improve the extraction yield, you can choose this method. This is also very effective method. And the next another method is pulsed electric field extraction. So this is one of the very recent methods. So here what the thing is, the electric pulse will be introduced in between the sample. So the plant sample and in between there is electrodes. So later the current will pass through this one and there is no solvents are used for this extraction. So because of the electric pulse, so automatically you can get the extract of the plant material. So this extraction significantly increase the extraction yield and decrease the extraction time as well. And the effectiveness of this pulse electric field extraction treatment depends on several parameters, which including field strength, specific energy input, pulse number, and treatment temperature. So here there is no solvents are involved in the extraction process, only the electric pulse. We will introduce the current into the in between the samples and we can get the extract automatically in the bottom area. So the PEF extraction is a non-thermal method and minimize the degradation of the thermolabile compounds. So this one also mainly used to extract polysaccharides, polyphenols, and proteins. So if your main aim is to extract the polysaccharides and phenolic compounds and proteins, then this is the one of the best method to go for extraction process. This is one of the recent method, and even many researchers they did extraction by using this method, and they got a predominant results when they do the biological activities or when they check the percentage yield of the extract. They did a lot of studies, and maybe you can get many information later on about this pulse electric field extraction methods. Then another new method is enzyme assisted extraction. So here also we don't use any solvent for the extraction process. So here we normally use the enzymes for the extraction process, especially cellulose, alpha amylase, and pectinase are generally employed in this enzyme assisted extraction. So normally the structure of the cell membrane and cell wall micelles formed by macromolecules such as polysaccharides and proteins, and the coagulation and denaturation of proteins at high temperatures during the extraction are the main barriers to the extraction of natural products. So normally many polysaccharides and proteins, the other methods like Soxhlet extraction method or any other kind of methods, we face a lot of difficulty, especially to extract the thermolabile compounds. So we can choose this method to extract especially the thermolabile compounds, including the polysaccharides and proteins. So the extraction efficiency will be enhanced when you use this method due to the hydrolytic action of the enzymes on the compounds of the cell wall and the membrane, and the macromolecules inside cell which facilitate the release of the natural products. So here this will be the enzymes will be present. So that will interact with the cell wall of the plant material, and automatically that will have some kind of interaction with the plant material, and those phytoconstituents are extracted in this process. So this is also one of the very effective techniques to isolate especially polysaccharides and proteins. So after these are the recent methods for the extraction process, because normally any researchers, when you ask what is the extraction method that you have been selected for the extraction of your plant material, normally they say Soxhlet extraction method or maceration method. some they say microwave assisted extraction technique, but there are so many other techniques, and these all mainly targeted compounds. Especially when you choose enzyme assisted extraction, you are targeting polysaccharides and proteins. So this way, when you later on, when you go for the separation process, it will be easy for you to separate this molecule. Otherwise, when you use Soxhlet extraction method or other methods, so you are isolating or extracting all the phytoconstituents which are present in the plant material. So later on, separation process will be very difficult because it is containing both minor and major constituents. So all the minor compounds are removal when you do the separation is very, very difficult. So because of that reason only, we need to choose the method of extraction target basis. So which compound that you are target. So it depends on that, you can choose the extraction method. So your target is proteins or polysaccharides, then maybe you can choose EAE method, or maybe you can use supercritical fluid extraction method, or maybe you can use pressurized method. So like that. So after the extraction process, what we do, we normally go for the concentration of the extract. So normally concentration of the extract will be done by rotary evaporator with controlled temperature and pressure. And additionally, now many institutions, I think they have the rotary evaporator, but they may not be having the rotary evaporator attached with chiller. So the role of chiller is maintain the temperature during the distillation process, and this will especially used to avoid the damage of thermolabile compounds, because as I mentioned, there are many phytoconstituents or thermolabile, means when you increase the temperature, that will destroy the molecule, thermally unstable compounds. So we need to also use the chiller along with the rotary evaporator to avoid damage of the thermally unstable compounds. So after the concentration of the extract, we go for isolation and identification. So isolation, we know the traditional methods. We normally start with TLC chromatography to check how many compounds are present in your extract. Then we go for column chromatography method for the separation, and flash chromatography, Cepheid chromatography, and we have HPLC, HPTLC, and we have so many other methods also, ion exchange chromatography, gel filtration techniques. So there are many techniques. Those are older methods, still those are effective methods. But now what we need to do, we have some recent methods to isolate the phytoconstituents from the plant material. So we need to adapt with the new technology. Otherwise, we will be far behind to other researchers in other part of the world. They will be doing very faster the extraction and isolation process. But what we do, we spend a lot of time, and finally our the result also very poor when compared to the other researchers. Those are using the new technology. So in the isolation process, comparatively, there are many new methods are available. And we know other than the chromatographic methods, there are non-chromatographic techniques, something such as qualitative phytochemical analysis. This we do normally after the extraction process. We check what are the phytoconstituents which are present. In this method, we cannot quantify, just we can qualitatively, we can say that what are the phytoconstituents are present in something including whether it is alkaloids, proteins, phenolic compounds, tannin, terpenoids. So we have some chemical methods. So normally we do the chemical testing, and based on the chemical testing, we identify what are the phytoconstituents are present in that. And another method is Fourier and IR spectrum. Also nowadays we can. This is one of the new technology, that is attribution. We have FTIR, but we don't have ATR. ATR is one of the new method, new instrument. So what we can do, so from the ATR is attached with FTIR. So you can test any kind of material to test to take the FTIR spectrum of the molecule. So IR spectrum is mainly used to identify and determine the functional group. So based on that, you can determine what type of compounds are present, because This ATR is having the database which is containing 10,000 to 20,000 compounds. Even if you go for purchasing the new version, there are 30,000 to 40,000 molecules are present in the library. So when you test any kind of extract or the plant material, even the plant material also you can check the ATR. Even you can use some solid material, liquid sample, any type of sample can be tested. There is no restriction in ATR. The sample, the mode of sample, whether it is solid in nature, liquid in nature, or semi-solid, or maybe some kind of plant material, directly you can test. And that automatically will compare the results which is present in the system, like what I mentioned, 30,000 compound. So that will give some kind of prediction what type of constituents may be present in your plant material. But what is the important is you cannot identify the novel constituents which are present in the plant material, so which is already available in the database. Based on that, you can predict at least what type of constituents are present in your plant material. So this is one of the new technique, ATR. And normally we use column chromatography for the separation and isolation of phytoconstituents. And now the new technique is flash column chromatography. I think flash column chromatography also is one of the old technique, but nowadays the new instrument is available with monitor, with computerized. So what we can do in the previous olden days flash column chromatography, we need to do some manual work. But here, this is automated one, and you can set everything in the computer software, so that automatically will do the separation process. So we need to adapt with the new technology. If you do use these kind of techniques, normally when you use the column chromatography, you need to spend 1 to 3 months of time to complete one extract isolation process. But when you use the flash column chromatography, the computerized one, I think you can complete in few days the separation process. And also this also having some library with having some database. You can also identify the known compounds which are present in your plant material. So now I'm going to discuss about what are the new modern and effective separation and isolation methods are available. So this is one of the recent method, molecular distillation methods. So normally many researchers, when they want to do isolation of volatile oils or maybe some kind of essential oils, normally they go for distillation process or maybe the steam distillation. But this is one of the new technique, molecular distillation. So molecular distillation separates the molecular by distillation under vacuum at a temperature far below its boiling point. So here you are not using the temperature more than the boiling point. Normally when you use the normal distillation process, so once the oil reaches into the boiling point, then only it started off isolating the constituents which are present in the oil. But this technique is with low temperature, means far below its low boiling point. So it is suitable distillation method for separating thermosensitive and high molecular weight compounds. So as we know that low molecular weight compounds are highly effective and biologically active. Even some high molecular weight compounds are very difficult to isolate, especially the essential oil and volatile oils. The constituents which are present in that volatile oils is very, very difficult. So from this method, you can isolate those compounds are very easily, and you can do some kind of biological activities. And next method is preparative gas chromatography method. And every one of us knows preparative TLC, preparative HPTLC, that we know. But this preparative GC is different from the normal gas chromatography, but the function will be same. Normally, the gas chromatography is mainly used to isolate or separate the volatile compounds. But here also, this preparative gas chromatography is mainly used for the separation of volatile compounds. So here the advantages is we can do the fast separation and only the difference between the GC and preparative TC is the injection port, the column which used, and the split device and tap device that we use in the gas equipment must be modified for the preparative separation due to the lack of commercial preparative GC. So there is no, actually this instrument still commercially not available in the market, But there are some researchers, they modified the GC into the preparative GC. And this is one of the very effective technique to isolate volatile samples, volatile oils. So preparative GC has become an important separation method for natural volatile compounds. So even some companies are started off manufacturing this instrument. I think this is now available in the market as well. If someone interested to isolate or extract the volatile samples, then instead of going for GC, you can go for preparative GC. So this will be more efficient and effective method to isolate volatile compounds. And the next method is supercritical fluid chromatography method. So normally supercritical fluid is used as a mobile phase here for the separation of some of the compounds. Especially here also we can isolate the thermally labile compounds, means thermally unstable compounds can be isolated by using these techniques. So here supercritical fluid used as a mobile phase, and this supercritical fluid chromatographic method integrates the advantages of both GC and liquid chromatography. So the supercritical fluid possesses properties of high dissolving capabilities and high diffusivity, low viscosity, which allows rapid and efficient separation method. So this is one of the recent methods, and many researchers, they followed this method, and they have been isolated the even volatile and non-volatile compounds. That is advantages over here. So normally when you use GC, you can isolate only the volatile compounds. But when you use the supercritical fluid chromatography, you can isolate non-volatile compounds and also thermally labile compounds, to which the gas chromatography, which is not applicable. And this is also a very interesting technology, that is a very recently developed method for the extraction and means separation and isolation of phytoconstituents which are present in the medicinal plant. So many complementary cavities with the memory of size, safe and functional group of the template molecules are generated when the template molecules. So here the compounds are separated based on the polymerization reactions. So normally the template molecules are removed from the molecular imprinted polymer. So the template molecules and its analog will have the specific recognition and selective adsorption for the molecular imprinted technology. So normally after the polymerization reactions, the polymer matrix, means that is a template. So that will be removed. So once you remove the template, automatically what are the phytoconstituents which are reacted with your constituents which are present in the plant material, that will be separated out. And this will be easier to separate those molecules when compared to other techniques. So this is one of the effective technique to separate all type of phytoconstituents and solid phase extraction adsorbents for sample preparation of herbal materials to enrich the minor compounds. Especially some of the minor constituents are very difficult to isolate. So here when you use this technology, the polymerization technology, you can isolate even the minor constituents which are present in the plant material. So this is one of the very recent techniques. And I think there are many phytoconstituents which are isolated by using this technology as well. So if you do the literature review of this method, so we are saying that this is a new technology, but there are many researchers has done the isolation of phytoconstituents, and there are many papers also coming up with this new technology. And this is also one of the very effective technology to use separation and isolation of phytoconstituents. And another technique is simulated moving bed chromatographic techniques. So normally we know many chromatographic techniques that are used for the separation and isolation of phytoconstituents. And this is one of the recent technology. So this method uses multiple columns with a stationary bed. So something like this, the instrument looks like this format. So normally the sample which is containing mixture of phytoconstituents will be introduced into the feed area. Then the countercurrent movement of the bed is simulated through rotary valves, which periodically switch the inlet and outlet of this instrument. So this process is a continuous separation method and a powerful tool to separate some natural products. And the advantages of this method is the consumption of solvent is very low, and the separation period also very less when compared to other column chromatographic techniques. So this is something like column chromatographic techniques, but this is something different in the methodology part, especially this is simulated moving bed chromatography. This is something like movement type. So you can separate the phytoconstituents easily. And another technique is multi-dimensional chromatographic separation techniques. Normally, when you use any separation or isolation of phytoconstituents, we use single column for the isolation process. But these techniques, we use different column in the same technique. So the components in the extract subjected to separation were complex, and generally no pure compounds will be separated in one column chromatography. So here this technique is containing multiple columns with a different stationary phase, so that the separation process will be very ideal and very efficient as well. So normally when you use a single column chromatography, either we use normal silica gel or Cefadex or maybe aluminum related materials to isolate some phytoconstituents, but that are single column. But this one is multiple column, which is containing different stationary phase, so that you can the isolation process will be very efficient, and you can isolate the compound in a very faster manner as well. So with more commercial multiple dimensional separation equipment entering into the market, the separation of natural product is becoming more rapid. So this is one of the very recent techniques to isolate the phytoconstituents. So here a manual process is very is a traditional method that we use it. So after so these are all the techniques mainly used for the extraction and isolation techniques, because we most of the time we adopt with the old techniques like column chromatography for the isolation, and similarly Soxhlet extraction for the extraction process. So we need to go for the new technology to make the things easier and efficient techniques. So after the extraction and isolation process, we need to go for the characterization of isolated compound. So characterization normally it starts from UV visible spectroscopy to identify some of the flavonoid compounds which are present in the plant material. And IR spectroscopy is it won't give the complete structural elucidation. So IR spectroscopy mainly used to identify some of the functional groups which are present in the isolated compounds. And 1D and 2D NMR spectroscopy is mainly used to determine the number of hydrogens, carbons, type of protons. So those can be identified. Then final confirmation will be done by mass spectroscopy techniques. And this still it remains same. So there is no alternative techniques, but there are new instruments are available with advanced technology. So we need to adapt with those technologies so that we can get the clear spectrum when compared to the spectrum which we get it earlier by using this technology. So after this, what we do, we go for in vitro and in vivo studies. So once we done the isolation of phytoconstituents, we do in vitro studies, which including antimicrobial, antioxidant, cytotoxicity studies. So later, based on the in vitro studies, we select some the potent molecules, and we go for in vivo studies, which including animal studies. This is what we practice actually. So when we do this kind of process, we face a lot of difficulties. So after this, I'm going to explain what is the new techniques for the preclinical studies or pharmacological studies. So that will be more useful, because after the isolation process, we need to do some kind of biological studies as well. Then only the process of drug development process will be fulfilled. So what are the challenges that we are facing when we do the, what are the methods that we have been discussed so far? So natural products are typically isolated in small quantity. Many researchers, they used to say, we are getting very small quantity, very low quantity, like milligram level. So how we can go for further process like in vitro and in vivo studies? So what we need to do, these quantities are insufficient to go for preclinical and clinical studies. So what we can do is, with the available quantity, definitely we can identify the structure of the molecule. But once you identify the structure of the compound, immediately what you can do, you can ask some synthetic or medicinal chemist who is expert in doing preparation of synthetic chemicals. So when they look at the structure of the molecule, they can come up with a scheme how we can come up, how we can synthesize the same compound synthetically, not by using the isolation technique. So that way only we can improve the quantities. Otherwise, small quantities, if you get some minor constants, always will be present in milligram level. But those compounds are maybe biologically active. So what normally researchers they do structural identification and they go for publication, and that's all. So next researchers they don't bother about those compounds. So what we can do, we need to target those compounds already isolated by other researchers, and we need to come up with a new method to synthesize those compounds, and we can also go for semi-synthetic derivatives, means we can modify the structure of the isolated compounds. Even 10 years before, during my PhD time, my project was something like semi-synthetic derivatives. So what we have been done, we have targeted the major compounds which are present in the plant material. We isolated, we done the characterization. Then from that, we come up with the semi-synthetic derivatives. Means we come up with around 40 compounds from those isolated compounds. So something we need to do by changing the structure of the molecules. So when you do functional group changes, automatically the biological activities we can improve, and we can also reduce the toxic effect as well. So another technique to improve the natural product compound development may involve the creation of natural product and natural product libraries. So some researchers, what they do, they don't do isolation, they don't do extraction. What they do normally, they check with the natural product like libraries. Means already established or isolated compound they choose, and from that they go for structural modifications, and later they do synthesis of those compounds, and then they go for biological studies. So that also another methods. Instead of struggling with low quantity of compounds, you can select the compound which is present in large quantity in the medicinal plant. So you just target only those compounds, so isolate that compound, then do some biological studies. So that will be better solution when compared to struggling with the low quantity of samples. So another challenges is in the drug discovery of medicinal plants is one of the time consuming process. We know that it takes a lot of time, extraction and isolation. So that is why we need to adapt with the new technologies, new instrument, so that the process will be very faster. And we need to find, as a researchers, instead of not only doing the research, we need to concentrate on something like innovative type. So innovation means we need to come up with a new technology, new method, how we can overcome this isolation process will be make it easier and faster manner. So innovative strategies also used to improve the process of the isolation and separation techniques. And another challenges when we do the drug discovery of natural products, so the design, determination, and realization of appropriate clinically relevant high throughput bioassays is a difficult process for all the drug discovery program. So what we need to do after a screening assay in a place, the compound and extract libraries can be tested for biological activity. So nowadays, even many researchers, they started off following pre-fractionation of extract. So instead of going for the final fractionation by column chromatographic method, pre-fractionations by using different mixture of solvent system. So you can already you are separating the compounds which are present in the extract, then that can be you are minimizing the number of compounds which is present in the extract. So it will be easy the process when you go for the isolation technique. So the acceptance of natural products mainly depends on the active constituents which are present in the natural product. Especially when you go to the market, there are many natural products related products that you can see. So when you look at that one, what the customer they see, they look at what is the constituents which are present in that, and is there any toxic effect which is produced when you use that particular natural product, and is there any interactions with some drug molecules, especially when the people are undergoing for some medication or medical treatments. So these kind of things are to be analyzed So this need to be statistically addressed to the customers. So then only we can improve the drug development process of the natural product, and maybe the products which are available in the market need to be tested properly, and we need to be clearly indicate is there any toxic effect which is produced by the phytoconstituents that are present in that, and is there any drug interaction, is there any what is the mechanism of action. These are the things need to be addressed. So another one of the big challenge and in the natural product is especially the biological studies. So challenges in the biological screening remain an important issue in the future of drug discovery from medicinal plants. So there are new methods are available. So without using any chemicals or without using any animals, maybe you can adopt some techniques. So you can identify the pharmacological screening of the extract or maybe the isolated compounds. So this in silico method is one of the new methods to find the lead molecules without using any chemicals and animal models. So these techniques, normally there are 4 steps are involved in this in silico studies. So the first step is to confirm the research significance of the medicinal plants. So here, as we know, there are 3 types of medicinal plants are present. For example, the common medicinal plants which is having more complex mechanism than the other herbal plants, means well-established plant. And the second type is the herbal, which is having the long history of traditional usage, but not much studies has been done and reported. And the third one is there are some herbal medicinal plants which is traditionally reported but not been done any kind of pharmacological screening. So this way we can separate the medicinal plants. So based on the unclear mechanisms and new utilization, some medicinal plants may be traditionally reported for something, but the researchers may be reported for the new activities. So that also need to be countered when you use the in silico studies. So the second step normally is the recognition and collection of plant natural products to construct the natural product database. That is the second step. So in this step, the pre-treatment of these compounds, including drug-like analysis, like ADME, absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion, and the prediction and the exclusion of false positive compounds. So here you can predict the false positive compounds and you can exclude those compounds in this second step. And third step is one of the main and core technique of this methodology of in silico studies. So this is a virtual screening in the third step. So this including 3 different theoretical bases. The first one is virtual target fishing based on pharmacophore searching, and the second one is dual validation based on small molecule shape similarity validation, and the third one is compound targeted analysis based on the docking studies. This is something like computerized based drug design. So here you can predict for searching and shape similarity validation and docking. This is one of the very important steps in the in silico studies. And the last step is to analyze the set of target identified. So this technique, this method, we can analyze the relationship of signaling pathways and pathological pathways and related disease with the potential targets that can be identified in this step. So finally, what we can come up with this technique is we can construct the network relationship between medicinal plants, naturally isolated compounds and biologically targets, signaling pathways and diseases. So here we can do some kind of comparisons between the medicinal plants, what are the isolated compounds which are present in that particular medicinal plant, and what is the pathological signaling pathways, biological targets, and also the diseases. So based on all this information, we can elucidate the mechanistic basis of the effect of the natural compounds in medicinal plants and predict its potential pharmacological activity. So based on these techniques, we can predict the pharmacological activities earlier without doing any kind of chemicals methods or maybe using the animal model. So in silico studies is one of the recent methods, and many researchers are started off doing this one to predict the pharmacological activities of the medicinal plants and also the isolated compounds. So this will increase the number of databases in order to reduce the number of biological tests and use the drug ability loss. So how this will work is based on the Lipinski rule of 5. So we know what is Lipinski rule of 5. So as per the Lipinski rule of 5, any compounds want to be a drug-like molecule. So there are 5 ideal things are required. The first thing is the molecular weight should be lower when compared to higher molecular means the molecular weight should be below 500, and the partition coefficient should be below 5, and the number of hydrogen bonding etc. should be less than 10, and the number of hydrogen bonding donors should be less than 10, and the number of rotatable bonds. So based on this Lipinski rule of 5, so automatically we can predict the compounds with a good pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic properties. So we can predict without using any chemicals. So you can predict what is even the solubility also you can predict whether the compound is lipid soluble or hydrophilic in nature, something like that. So it has a specific database for a class of targets, and we can also predictive binding modes of the molecules within the targets by using docking. So by using these methods, we can do proper estimation of drug likeness pHs and profiling of potential toxicity. So based on all this information, you can predict the hydrophilicity, lipophilicity, because hydrophilicity and lipophilicity is very, very important for drug likeness. So when you do the physiochemical properties by using this in silico studies, you can predict the toxicity profile of the compound, because any compounds, any drug molecules, once it done the metabolism process, it is supposed to be excreted through urine. So if it is not excreted through urine, especially for the lipophilic compounds, that will be stable in the body, and that will become a toxic product, toxic metabolites. So that can be predicted in the earlier stage. So in silico studies of natural products strengthen the drug development platform, and nowadays many researchers are using these techniques. And there are many papers, many research papers stated that this method is more advantageous, and it is comparable with the results are really very comparable with the traditional methods. And another method which I would like to highlight is metabolomic studies. So this is also one of the modern and effective method to find the toxicity profile, because efficacy is very important for any kind of compounds, either natural compound or synthetic compounds, but at the same time the toxicity is very, very important. So how we can predict the toxicity of the naturally isolated compound or the plant extract? So we can use metabolomic studies. So metabolomics has been defined as it is one of the comprehensive and quantitative analysis of all metabolites. So we know the metabolism process. So metabolism is, it is a conversation of converting the original molecule into a other molecule after the chemical reactions. So then it is converted into a metabolites. Then finally that metabolites will be excreted through urine. If it is not excreted through urine, so that will become toxic metabolite. So that will be stable in the body, and so that can be predicted by using these metabolomic studies. So metabolites derived from natural products can be determined, and the metabolic changes induced by natural products can be determined. And we can also determine the toxicity related natural product exposure also can be determined by using this technique. And metabolomics is one of the powerful technology for the investigation of xenobiotic induced toxicity, and the metabolism of natural products can be determined. So this technique is mainly to determine the toxicity profile of the compounds. So here also we don't use any kind of chemicals, or maybe no need to use any kind of animal studies, no need to conduct any animal studies to determine the toxicity profile of the compound. So you can choose metabolomic studies. So here LCMS based metabolomics has a great potential. So this instrument LCMS MS is used in the determination of drug ability of natural products. And the application of metabolomics should be broadened in the field of natural products in the future. So this is one of the developed and developing method to determine the toxicity profile of the naturally isolated compounds. So this metabolomics has the potential to make a powerful impact in preclinical drug development studies, because as we know, extraction in isolation is one of the important thing in the drug discovery process, and the next we should do the preclinical and clinical trials. So metabolomics will reduce the time consuming process, because it takes normally the traditional method, it takes 7 to 10 years of time to predict all these kind of things. But this techniques is easily, you can predict the all preclinical data, including identification of new targets. You can also elucidate the mechanism of action of new drugs, and development of safety and efficacy profile of new drugs. And we can also determine the ADME profile of the isolated compounds. And also, more importantly, toxicity is a leading cause of attrition of all stages of drug development process. As we know, even in the COVID-19 also, there are many drug molecules. They're doing research, and finally, when they get efficacy, but finally it produces some kind of toxic effect. Due to that reason, the drug development process are not fulfilled, and we cannot go for the further process. So toxicity is very, very important in any kind of drug molecules to go for the drug development process. So by using the metabolomic studies, what is the advantage is we can predict the toxicity profile in the earlier stage, so that it is not necessary to do many other studies to predict the toxicity profile. So based on the metabolic studies, you can come up with a conclusion whether this particular compound is producing any toxic effect with the human being. If it is producing any toxic effect, then based on that you can change or modify the structure of the compounds. Maybe by using in silico studies, we can predict we can change the molecule structure. Then that can be again you can test with the metabolomic studies to determine the toxicity profile. So metabolomics profiling has the potential to identify the toxicity early in the drug discovery process, which can save time, money for the pharmaceutical companies. And next, another important technique is the new methodologies LC-NMR and LC-NMR-MS techniques. So as we know, HPLC is mainly used to separate the phytoconstituents which are present in the medicinal plant extract, and NMR is mainly used for the characterization purpose. And now the Bruker, I think we know Bruker is a company manufacturing many instruments, especially the analytical instruments, and they come up with a new instrument which is having LC, NMR, and mass spectroscopy all together in one instrument. So this instrument will do the separation technique. After the separation, it automatically goes to the NMR for the characterization purpose. And with the database available in the NMR software, so automatically we can predict what may be the phytoconstituents. Then it also reaches into the LC-MS stage, that what we have been discussed in the previous slide, metabolomic studies. So we can predict the toxicity profile, we can predict the ADMR, everything can be done by using only one instrument. So this is one of the new instrument. I think Bruker is introduced already, this one, but not many institutions are having this instrument. So this instrument is very useful. With one instrument itself, we can do the separation, as well as you can do the characterization part, and also you can do the metabolomic studies like toxicity profile, ADME profile, pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamic profile. Everything comes into the one instrument itself. Okay, so analysis of crude extract of natural products and plant derived compounds can be done by using these techniques, and this technique is optimized for rapid identification of potential drug candidate in the plant products. So every time the many researchers, they used to tell it is one of the time consuming process. So what we need to do, we need to adopt with the new technology and new instrument, so that we can reduce the time and we can get the result in faster manner, and then only the drug discovery process will be shortened. Otherwise, normally it takes 10 to 15 years of time. So after 15 years of time, when you go for the clinical or clinical studies, due to toxicity or some other reasons that may be failed and cannot bring that product into the market. So early prediction is very, very important. So we can predict the toxicity earlier so that you can change the structure of the compound and you can come up with a new molecule with low toxic. So detection of bulk drug impurities also can be done by using this LC-NMR and MS. So the data from LC-NMR MS allow for characterization of all impurities which is present in the crude drug, especially for the extract. And now for the young researchers, my suggestion is go for a target based measure. Compounds means instead of going for selection of and isolation, so you can go for the. So now currently even but we are not isolating the novel compound. Not many biological studies has been done. So what the researchers can do, you just target some particular compounds which are already established by other researchers. So you can either you can synthesize that compound or maybe you can isolate that compound from that particular medicinal plant, and you can go for biological properties, and or maybe you can go for in silico studies and metabolomic studies. So that way only the process duration will be reduced. Otherwise, definitely in the PhD level or maybe the master's level, the time is not really sufficient to go for all studies, including the preclinical and clinical studies. So what we can do, you have to start something with not from the beginning. So we have to scratch already from the earlier researchers what they have been reported about the isolated compound. So these compounds, these are the compounds already well established compounds, and they have been reported for many biological activities. So you can do study on these compounds. So that will be more beneficial when compared to doing from the beginning, like selection of plant material, extraction and isolation. Similarly, these compounds also, currently we are working on these compounds like curcumin. We know curcumin, I think there are many studies are doing by many researchers. So there are many other compounds like mangiferin, naringenin, 6-gingerol. These are the phytoconstants are already well established and they have reported for many biological activities. But what we can do is how we can modify the structure of this compound, how we can synthesize this compound. So then only we can bring natural product into the market. Otherwise, still, if you are asking the student or maybe the PhD student, if they are doing isolation of phytoconstants and doing biological activities, then after that they may not continue with the same compound. So that will be just in the published paper only. So instead of that one, if you are really interested to bring the molecule into the market, then you need to do the study on isolated compounds. So that is better. So with that, I'm coming to the conclusion part. So as we know, natural products play a major role in the drug discovery process, and there are many natural products that are discovered from medicinal plant have provided numerous clinically used medicines. So there are many medicines which are currently available in the market. Either it is almost 50% of the drugs which are mainly obtained from the natural products or maybe derived from the natural products. And even with all the challenges facing drug discovery from medicinal plants, natural products isolated from medicinal plants can be predicted remain as an essential component in search of for new remedies. So still, even though there are many compounds are already isolated and available in the market, still we are looking for new medicines because there are so many new diseases. For example, now we suffered because of COVID-19. Still, we are struggling to get some kind of vaccine or medicines. So we need to establish and predict some natural compounds so that may be useful in the future for maybe to treat some kind of new diseases. So what as researchers, what we need to do, we need to adopt with the new technology, and we need to develop the new technology, new methods. Then only we can foster the drug discovery process, especially for the natural products. So as technology continues to develop, more and more new automatic and rapid techniques have been created to extract and separate natural compounds. So there are many methods that I have been discussed. Maybe there are some other methods also may be available, but which I may not be covered in my presentation. So you need to adapt with the new technologies. Then only we will be competitive to other researchers. Otherwise, we will be far behind for those researchers, because normally in other countries, developed countries, what they do, their research is something totally different from ours. Because what we do, we are normally doing extraction, isolation, and doing biological studies. But they are more advanced. They use advanced instruments to develop the natural products. So they are very faster when compared to us. So we also need to use those technology to come up with some new natural products in future. And I already mentioned the in silico studies of natural products strengthen the drug development platform. And metabolomic study also is one of the new techniques to determine the toxicity in the early stage of drug discovery process, which can save time, money, and for pharmaceutical companies, as well as in the educational institution and research institutions. So we can follow the new technologies and new methods to reduce time, and at the same time we get some effective natural products. So as we know, natural products, I think synthetic, and many people, some of them maybe avoid natural product research because they know synthetic is very easy and convenient, but natural product also very easy when you use the new methods. And there are new methods are available. When you use the new methods, what are the challenges that we are facing currently in the development of natural products that can be overcome when you use the new technology. So every challenges has a solution, but only thing is what we need to do, we need to adopt the new technology, new methods, so that only we can bring the natural product into the market. Otherwise, it will be time consuming process, and definitely we cannot bring any molecule into the market. So I hope that this presentation might be helpful, and thank you very much to everyone for your patience and listening my presentation. I think the time is very limited with 1 hour. I cannot, that is why I'm little bit fast also during my presentation. So maybe later individual methods which I have been mentioned, especially for the extraction and isolation techniques, maybe you can search and do some literature so that you can get more information about the this new method of extraction and isolation techniques. So with that, I would like to thank everyone, and I will hand over the session to the organizer for the Q&A session. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for Dr. Mahendran for the wonderful presentation regarding the modern and effective methods in the development of natural products. And here we are into the questionnaire session, and we have received a few questions from the participants. I'll tell each question one by one. And the first one is, what are the types of extractions which you will advise for small scale extraction process?
Small scale extraction, I think microwave assisted extraction is one of the best technique, I think. So because we cannot, that technique is very fast, you can do the extraction. Also, you can minimize the amount of solvent that has been used in other techniques. So I suggest if you want to go for a minimum quantity of extraction, then maybe you can use microwave assisted extraction, because Soxhlet, you need a lot of quantity of solvents. Similarly, maceration method also, you need to use a huge amount of solvents, and it is a time consuming process. So to avoid all those things, the best method is microwave assisted extraction.
Okay, thank you, sir. And the second question from the participant is, how will you rectify the acceptable residual solvent level in the extract?
Yeah, can you repeat your question, madam?
How will you rectify the acceptable residual solvent level in the extract?
So in the extraction process, that is why every individual extraction process having some advantages and disadvantages. So the quantity of the extraction or the yield of the extract will be vary from one method to another method. So that can be that is one of the tough how to say, it is very difficult to determine some plant material easy to get a large quantity of extract in certain method, and when you use the different other methods you may get low quantity of the extract as well. So this will be vary from one method to another method, so very difficult for us to predict those kind of things.
Okay, thank you, sir. And the next question from the participant is how to modify the polarity in superficial fluid extraction process.
Supercritical fluid, normally we polarity is not a matter. So actually we use supercritical fluid, that is carbon dioxide is used. There is no other solvents are used like non-polar or polar solvents. But that is one of the ideal supercritical fluid that can isolate both polar and non-polar constituents which are present in the medicinal plant. So here there is no the polarity and non-polarity. So we are using supercritical fluid as a carbon dioxide. So that can extract both polar and non-polar constituents.
Thank you, sir. And the next question from our participants is, you have explained about in silico studies.
Yes.
So is there any database available for virtual screening or pharmacophore searching shape similarity validation and docking accurate verification?
Yeah, in silico studies is for some researchers maybe that might be a new method, but that is very well established, and so many researchers already done many research on in silico studies, and many articles also has been published as well. So this is something like chemical free and something like animal studies also can be avoided. We can predict the pharmacological action of the compound without doing any animal studies. So this just like the software, like what we do in the medicinal chemistry, computer aided drug design. So this just like a software. If you want to use it, maybe some well-established institution, they have this kind of technique and they have the software as well. So you can have a collaboration with them and it will be easy for you to get all this database. And even you can also contact some of the supplier, those are supply this kind of software. So even they can conduct some kind of training also in your institution. So that can contact them and they can even something like that. So what we can do, we just give the information to some people and they will do the in silico studies. And based on the results, we need to do some interpretation in both the parties, and that can be published in high impact journals, and that will be more useful.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And the next question from other participants is, which is the eco-friendly method of extraction?
Eco-friendly, that is why if you, I think what are the methods that are I have been mentioned, the new methods, all are eco-friendly method only, because once you start avoiding the toxic solvents and reducing the solvents, so that will be automatically, that is eco-friendly methods. So even micro-assisted extraction is one of the eco-friendly methods. Then the pressurized liquid extraction also eco-friendly, and the supercritical fluid also eco-friendly, because we are not using the toxic chemicals for the extraction process, and that are very effective technique as well. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And the last question is, one of the participants asked about few databases which are used significantly the prediction of pharmacological activity in the natural products.
Actually, so that is why in silico studies actually a separate topic. So if I started off, if you want more information about in silico studies, now at present I don't have much data to show to you, but that is one of the well-established methods. So easy for you to get all the pharmacological information, any kind of diseases. So there are many, I think researchers in India also nowadays they have started of doing in silico studies. So you have a contact with them, then you can get more information about that one. But that whatever the in silico methods that has been already cross-checked with the traditional methods, and it is showing it is very effective. And you can rely on what are the results that you get it from the in silico studies. So that is why this method is very well established nowadays, and many researchers are started up following in silico studies instead of in vitro and in vivo studies.
Okay, sir. And the last question by a participant. What about the safety and purity if we shift from natural product to synthetic, as you said in your talk, when the extraction yield is low?
Yeah, actually, there is no toxic because you are synthesizing the natural compound only. So originally, the compound may be obtained from the medicinal plant. So you are just characterize the structure of the compound. So once you characterize the compound, so that compound you are going to synthesize. So when you do synthesize, maybe we may use some synthetic chemicals, but final the product is the structure of the molecule is originally obtained from the plant material. So definitely that will be that may not be much toxic, and so such a way I think there are many, even if you establish or come up with any new product, every time we cannot go for isolation as well. For example, the drug molecule which is available in the market, even though if it is originally obtained from natural product, we cannot go for isolation all the time. So it is later on we need to determine the synthetic procedure to synthesize that particular compound. So that we cannot avoid, and that way when you do synthesize, you may supposed to use some kind of toxic materials, but the final product definitely it will not be a toxic when compared to the original synthetic materials.
Okay, thank you, sir. And one of the participants just now posted, it's about the what's the cost of microwave assisted extraction?
The cost, microwave assisted, it means you are asking about the instrument or the extraction process, I don't know. But even you can use the, if for example, if your laboratory don't have the commercially available microwave extraction for the, especially for the medicinal plant extraction, you can use the normal microwave, which can be used in the kitchen normally. So that also can be used for the extraction process. So the cost wise, I think not much actually. Even you can, in Indian rupees, I think you can get it for 50,000 rupees or 1 lakh. I think you can get some sophisticated instrument which is available in the market nowadays. So not much expensive if you purchase a commercially available microwave, especially for the extraction of natural products.
Okay, thank you so much for your patience for answering all the questions of the participants, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Actually, that previous question was asked by the Dean of SVCP, Swami Vivekananda College of Pharmacy, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And also one more question from Dr. V. Ravichandran, sir. I think he's from AIMS University, Malaysia. So he
Yes,
only asked about the safety and purity of that nature product to the synthetic way. Yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you so much. Really, it's an intellectual presentation today. And now I will invite our principal, sir, to share a few words about your presentation, please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a valuable expression of your experience and more information. As per the feedback, excellent and informative. So thank you very much once again on behalf of our Nanda Educational Trust and the Nanda College of Pharmacy. Thank you, Mr. Magendran. We will meet again. Thank you for sharing your valuable time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much to every one of you for listening my presentation, and thank you very much to Principal Sir Dr. Shivakumar Sir and every one of us for listening my presentation. So in future, maybe if you want to get more information, I given my email ID and WhatsApp number. So if you need more details, because here the online platform sometimes is very difficult. It is not two-way communication. So we need to present first, then we need to wait for the question and answer. So this sometimes it is inconvenient, but so in future, if you want to know more about all this information, maybe you can contact personally through email or maybe through WhatsApp, so that I can give more information about each technique as well. And even all whatever the methods which I have been mentioned in the extraction and isolation techniques, those are new and modern methods. So there are some published articles are available. So if you go through, then you can get an idea. And through that way, I think you can minimize the time for the extraction and separation process, because isolation is one of the critical thing in the natural product developments. So if you go for the new method, we can shorten the time of drug discovery process.
Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Now we invite our professor, Dr. Jagadishwaran, Department of Pharmaceutical Analysis, to share a few words in the topic of vote of thanks. Please, sir.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm feeling very happy to give you a vote of thanks on this webinar. We extend thanks to our management, Sri Nanda Educational Trust, for providing the constant support and facilities to organize this international webinar. I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to our resource person, Dr. Mahendran Sekhar, for gracing today's webinar. Thank you, sir, for your valuable and informative address. I would like to express a profound gratitude to our principal, Dr. T. Shivakumar, for his presence in this webinar. Thank you, sir. I also thank to our Chief Administrative Officer, Dr. K. Krishnamurthy, for his guidance and moral support. Thank you, sir. Our sincere gratitude to the participants from various disciplines in and around the country. I must not forget to thank the organizing committee members who contributed to organizing this international webinar. Thank you, one and all.